There is a sweet spot for flagships right now, and it's actually these phone makers that have created the sweet spot for us. It saves money, it keeps stuff out of landfill, and it gives you 90% of a modern smartphone's features for sometimes 50% of the price. So let's talk about that. Hey guys, I'm Ryan Thomas, and I've spoken quite a lot about smartphone long-term software support on this channel recently, and for good reasons. One, it needs to be recognized and appreciated, and two, it enables second-hand phones to last way longer before needing an upgrade. But there is a particular sweet spot to save money but also have a really good usable phone for a good few years, and that's important because money feels, well, incredibly hard to come by these days. I want to speak about flagships in particular because they bring the best features and quality, but when you pick them up a little while after launch, they can sometimes fall into the almost mid-range bracket of pricing, which makes them far more easily attainable for more people. I made a whole video on the Google Pixels and how you should probably wait 6 to 9 months to maybe even a year to get one of those things because the value just seems to come down so fast, like an anchor. And although the Pixel 7 series should still get another 2 years of software updates, making it a pretty decent phone as long as you don't need the highest end performance, for me, it's still just a little bit outside of the sweet spot due to its age and its hardware capabilities. Even if you don't want to buy last year's Pixel 8, which simply phenomenal value for money this year, I mean, we're talking they've dropped at least half of their price. The Pixel 9 series has seen phenomenal discounts as well, bringing them down $600 to $800 depending on which model you opt for. And that's worth jumping on because these are some of the best phones that you can buy right now, in my opinion. I love the Pixel 9 Pro series in particular with that telephoto camera on the back. The fact that you can pick up one of the most complete smartphone packages for $300 to $500 off makes right now a great time to buy the smartphone. Especially if you buy from Mint Mobile, because there is some absolutely insane deals going on right now. We're talking $599 for a Pixel 9 Pro. You get phenomenal packages in terms of the data plans from Mint Mobile, but I would honestly go with the unlimited package because it's just been discounted so much. So check the link in the video description if you want to check out Mint Mobile's Pixel 9 Pro plans, because I cannot recommend them enough. Companies like Samsung and Google have been racing to deliver software support. I mean, starting really with the 2023 models and then 2024 phones really cementing that. It means that there's a bit of a back catalogue to go through, and you can choose from more devices that will still get long-term support, sort of 5+ years down the line. This might not necessarily mean the speed and the battery life can keep up, and there are still serious concerns regarding hardware aspects, but the software compatibility and capability with apps like banking and security reliance software won't be a problem with these models, even if the phone has slowed down somewhat over time. And the fact that Google gave the Pixel 6 series an additional 2 updates means that the whole long-term promise seems actually legitimate. It has legs, it inspires genuine confidence that we'll actually receive those updates and that it's not just a flash in the pan. And I will reiterate that you should never buy a product based on future promises because you never know if you're actually going to get them or not, but instead what the product can do right now. Apple Intelligence. And speaking of, it's pretty well known how long Apple serves its phone updates. I mean, combined with the stellar performance out of the box, iPhones probably are the best really long-term smartphones you can buy. We're talking 5+ years down the road. I recently used an iPhone XR for 45+ days as my main smartphone, and I was surprised by just how good it was for a phone that is worth about £90 over here in the UK. iPhones hold their value so much, it's actually kind of crazy, and sometimes that means it's hard to even get a deal on an iPhone 15 series, let alone the 16 series, which has been out a good few months already. So by dropping to the 14 series, you can still get something that is supported until 2029, so another 4 years, but a phone that is still relatively capable with a decent sized main camera sensor and that kind of thing. A good option if you're into iPhones, but of course we don't really specialize in those around here. I think Samsung's Galaxy phones, in particular the Ultra class, is truly the way to go if you want an elite, well-balanced, high-end used smartphone with lots of juice left in the tank. And you can go one or two ways with this. I have spoken at great length on this channel about the Galaxy S23 Ultra. I think it's one of the best phones you can buy in terms of a used smartphone. It's probably one of my favorite smartphones of the last 5 years, and it can be had for under $500, which when you consider the sheer amount of hardware features and quality of those features, it's simply an outrageous deal. And due to more platform upgrades, with the final update expected to ship around February 2028, which means it still has heaps of juice left in the tank after already being 2 years old. But maybe more impressively, the year newer S24 Ultra will receive updates going into 2031, so 6 years away, and should get Android 20. This was when Samsung really ramped up its software support promises and policies, and so the S24 Ultra, maybe as boring as it might be, is just an outstanding phone for the money. These do cost a fair bit more. We're talking around $700, $750 used, depending on where you buy from. But given just how much more software support you get, maybe it's worth the jump from the 23 to the 24 Ultra for you. And this was the last S Pen phone to have the Bluetooth enabled stylus, so you could actually use it as a remote control. It has other benefits over the S23 Ultra as well, like a flat front glass element with the fantastic anti-glare coating, and being a year newer, the performance is also just a tad better as well. You could also opt for a regular S23 or a 23 Plus or a 24 or 24 Plus and get the same kind of support if you didn't want to spend just that much money and you still wanted One UI, which for me has probably become the best software package overall. But you also get the phenomenal hardware, where pixels might slow down faster than any other Android phone really. The Samsungs tend to have the best hardware in them, as long as you pick the model year that will give you a Snapdragon worldwide, or if you're in the US, you'll always get a Snapdragon chip anyway. But it is worth digging into the specs and details, because that can go a long way. But over here in the West, and in particular in the US where Android Police is based, I think the Samsung Ultras for the past couple of years are the best long-term smartphones you can buy. I know I always bang on about the OnePlus 12. I think it's a phenomenal used phone. My favorite device of probably the last 5 or 6 years. The one I use every single day, but I just don't think it's the best used smartphone you can get, given what Samsung is offering. The OnePlus 12 should get Android 17 like the Galaxy S23 Ultra, and the performance and battery life for me has just been absolutely fantastic, given I've hammered it with that super fast charging. But I think for the average person, Oxygen OS just isn't quite at the level of One UI. The 12 can be pretty cheap, used or on a discount with old stock. It has all the features that I love, but isn't the top of my list. And though the 11 is a good phone, I just don't think it has the legs long term for me. The 13 is due 6 years of patches though, so that should get Android 19, and it should be secure going into 2031, which is a real step in the right direction, so that could be one for the future. I know there are other factors at play here. What's the condition of the phone? Do you know who's owned it before? I know in some countries the used markets just aren't nearly as healthy as over here, so sometimes it actually does just make sense to buy brand new. Battery health, for example, an insanely important factor, a crucial one that basically just decides if the phone's worth buying and using or not. Because it doesn't only impact battery life, but performance. Phones will slow themselves down if they can't detect the full current. And so these are things that you absolutely have to take into consideration, not to mention warranty support. Some third-party refurbished sellers will offer warranties, but some won't, so you really just have to do your due diligence when it comes to buying used technology. Something that could be seen as a hassle, but is absolutely worth it if you want to save a good few £100 or dollars. Thanks in part to the long-term software support and the truly exceptional hardware that we have these days, 2023 and 2024 smartphones are absolutely the sweet spot if you want to save yourself some serious coin. And if that's an option for you, it's one I absolutely recommend. Guys, are you used smartphone people at all? Do you prefer certified refurb, or maybe you just gotta have that fresh phone feeling? I want to hear what you have to say in the comments, and whilst you're down there, be sure to hit like if you enjoyed today's content and subscribe to never miss another upload. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Ryan Thomas, and I will catch you later. Cheers.